So as we begin this next lab, I want you to remember the very first one that we made, which was high gearing, where we traded the motor's torque for extra speed by going 36 to 12 or 3 to 1. This one was spinning 3 times as fast. What we're going to do in this lab is we're going to add another set of gears. So like, what if after we made this one go so much faster, what if we use this one, which is already 3 times as fast, to power another 3 to 1 gear ratio? We could make the thing 9 times as fast by adding another set of gears using what we call compound gearing. So when we search Google for the word compound, there's a lot of different definitions for that, but made up or consisting of 2 or more existing parts or elements. So the existing part that we're going to be using is going to be the fact that we already had an existing 3 to 1 ratio. We're going to use 2 3 to 1 ratios to produce a 9 to 1 ratio. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. So here's what you're going to need for this part. Okay, so just assume that you're going to have to build it from scratch. I mean, I already had it kind of put together, but let's assume that you have to build it from scratch. These are the components that you're going to need. You're going to need 3 shafts. These are all 9 units long. Probably something longer would work also. You're going to need to have 2 of the 36 tooth gears and 2 of the 12 tooth gears. You're going to need 3 of these spacers and 3 indicators so that we can see that it's moving. Doesn't matter what they are, as long as they don't run into each other. All right, so let's start off with the first part. The first thing we're going to do, I'll move these up a little bit, is we're going to put on that first gear on the motor. We have to put the internal thing. Now this one, it's going to take you're going to have a little bit of skill to put this one together, because you have to put gears actually in this middle section of the sandwich. All right, so I've got that set up so that it can't slide out. And we're going to tack on the big 36 tooth gear. You know, when we start this, it's going to start out exactly, well, it's kind of like the original assignment where we had the higher gear ratio. All right, so now this is where it gets a little bit tricky, okay? All right, so for this part, what we're going to do is we're going to cap this right about here. We can put our turn indicator flag right on here towards the end of it. And we're going to put it in, but not all of the way. Put it in just a little bit. And now, this is going to be kind of hard for me to show you on the camera, so I have to adjust this a little bit. We're going to be building all the rest of this, a lot of work we're going to be doing right in the middle here. I'll try to keep that so that the camera can see it. Okay, so what we need to do is we're going to put another gear and the spacer on the inside. We got to get both of those things crammed on the inside. We're going to start off with the spacer. Put that in there, and you're going to have to kind of use it's kind of hard to do. So I've got a spacer in there, and now I'm going to hold the gear in there and shove that through there. There we go, and now it's coming out the other side. Now, the problem is it floats back and forth. We don't want that to happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to push the gear all the way over to this side, and the spacer all the way over there, so now it doesn't move back and forth like that. So basically, spread the gear and the spacer apart, and make sure that this is still meshed over here. Okay, and at this point, this should actually turn, just like our original one, except the only difference is now it's also spinning this gear. So it's as if we have a new motor here that spins 3 times faster that's going to start off a new project that turns this one. That's why it's compounding. We have one set of gears here. We're going to have another right here. Okay, for this one, we're going to take the indicator only, nothing else, just the indicator, and put it on the end here. No, excuse me, don't do that. So for this one, my bad, that's my fault. We're going to have to put this in so that we can put another gear right next to it, this small 12-tooth gear that meshes with the already existing gear that we have in here. So if we look carefully, you'll have to kind of move over to about right here. So if we look on this side, skip 2 empty ones, and put one right here. That's where the shaft should go. And let's look in the middle of what we see in here. Actually, I'm going to do it like this. This might be a better view for us, I think. Okay, so now we're going to kind of slide that apart. And I'm going to start off by putting the gear on. There we go. And got to leave it out a little bit. And now this part can get a little bit difficult if you don't have small fingers. You got to fit them in there and get that off. I told you this one's a little bit harder to build, but not bad. Okay, so now that's here. We want this up against the wall. I'm going to hold this and slide the gear back over here. And now you can see they can't move out of true. And then I'm going to put the indicator flag. And again, you know, this might look different depending on what you have. Oh, wow, it's actually going to run into it. So I have to move that out a bit. And there we go. So I have my indicator flag right here. So now let's give this a spin. Let's make sure the flags aren't going to run into each other. And let's give this a spin. So we have one set of gears that triples the speed right here, 36 to 12. And then it's already been tripled once. And we take that tripling and we triple it again by running a big 36 to 12 here. If you look at it, this is going to go 3 times as fast. And this is going to also take 3 times already and multiply it by 3 again. So we should have, if we compare the motor shaft to the final output, it should be going 9 times as fast. 3 times 3, which is 9. Now look, at this point, if it doesn't turn when you do that, or it gets kind of locked up, you need to loosen these up. You might have them too tight. So, you push them over a little bit, maybe just loosen them up just a tiny bit. And so now we have, it worked out just great. So we have something that goes 9 times as fast here in forward or reverse. I want you to notice something else here about the compound gearing, is that if you look at it, it's hard to tell because it goes so fast. Let me unplug this and I'll turn it by hand. Look at the way this is rotating and this one. Well, because we have this extra gear that goes in the middle, it's opposite direction and then back to the regular direction. So these two actually spin in the same direction, although it goes a lot faster here because of the 3 times 3 or 9x gearing. So even turning it just by hand really slow, you can see it goes very, very fast. And if I plug it in, we get this really cool effect. There's another logical question that you could ask next, and that is, wow, if we did it again, could we multiply it by 3 again and get 27 times as fast? I'd say that's a good question.